Question asked, how do we incorporate drive time into a lawn mowing schedule? Well, this is going to be a somewhat of in-depth video here, how to do this. So not only particular to lawn mowing, but any service industry. So whether you're doing lawn care, home cleaning, pest control, design build, whatever that is, we're going to dive in and show you how to calculate and show drive time as a subcategory of the service. So the consumer doesn't see it, but you're calculating the drive time for each and every area that you are servicing. So you're grabbing that non-billable drive time and incorporating it into your estimate. So first thing we want to do here is pop out the screen and show Service Autopilot. But if you have any questions during the live or recorded version, let us know. But I'm going to break down how to show drive time, delivery fees, and different things like that in your Service Autopilot estimates, as a question was submitted over the weekend. I believe the gentleman's name was Hal. So to answer Hal's question, we're going to dive into it. So first thing we're going to do is get in the Service Autopilot. But as in most of the videos, we want to go in and create a blueprint first. So the first thing we're doing is we're going to break down, in the lawn mowing example, zones or postal codes or towns, wherever you're going. I'm going to define the service as, in this example, zone number 1 drive time, and the custom field is going to be zone number 1 drive time, number of trips. It's a 1-to-1 equation. So for every 1-to-1 times, every one time we go to this location, we have a budgeted time and cost. So let's say in this example, Hale was charging $55 an hour, and it was costing him $36 an hour to operate. That's his total overhead recovery number to break even. And knowing Hal, I believe he knows that number. So the idea is, what you want to do is go into each zone or postal code or town and take that total number of jobs. So let's say in zone number 1, just for some basic math up here, Hal has 3 days of mowing in zone number 1, and he averages 30 lawns a day. So we would go in and say 3 times 30 equals 90 lawns that Hal has on that area. And then what we're going to do is add up the drive time for each one of those zones on average. So each one of those 3 days, so from his shop all the way through those stops and back to the shop, if we didn't actually stop and do the work, what would that look like in MapQuest or Google, or if you're in navigation and Service Autopilot? So let's say he's got 1.5, he's got one short day, it's 0.75, and he's got a long one here, 1.9 hours. So on average, when you add them all up, he's got 4.15 hours over 3 days. So I'm going to put a equation in here and say, okay, on average, if that's what he's driving, dividing that by 3 days, on average, his non-billable drive time is 1.38 hours. Now, that only covers one person. So during the current times, you may only have one person. But if this is a 2-person crew, we want to add some additional arithmetic to this and say it's a 2-person crew. So on average, he's averaging 2.76 hours of non-billable drive time to go out to zone 1. So what we're going to do is plug that in here, 2.76. And our rate is going to be 2.76 times our $55 per man hour. Now, in my opinion, we really can't go any lower than $36 an hour, because that's our break even. We want to cover that. But if we're going to do this on average of 30 lawns, right now for ballpark math, we've got $151 of non-billable overtime we need to cover to hit our $55 an hour goal over the day. So if I divide this by 3 days, or I'm sorry, actually by 30 stops on average for the day, he should be basically adding an additional $5.06 per stop on average to cover the drive time from his shop through all 30 stops and back in. So we're going to make this equation from 1 to 1 once again. Price is going to equal the $5.06 and equal this here and equal this here. Now we've only got part of the equation actually tackled. So we know now that it's $5.06 based on 30 stops. So equals this divided by our dollar per man hour, and now it's 0.09, and it's costing $3.31 in overhead. So when we take this and times it by 60, basically it's taking 5 minutes, 5.52 minutes average drive time between each stop. So now we've actually covered that in our 0.09 man hours, and we've calculated a price and break-even cost. So what we want to do is break this down. It's not a perfect science, but this is how we broke it down in my company, and it came out on average to cover most of the non-billable drive time. Now, one thing you really want to be careful is if you've already figured drive time and your overhead recovery, you don't want to double dip. But if you're trying to figure out the exact drive times per area, this is how we do it. We take the total number of stops. So in this example, we had 3 days of about 30 lawns each. And we took that hour and a half, 0.75 and 1.9 hours per each day, and we divided that by 3. We grabbed an average, and then we multiplied that by 2 individuals on the truck, and that came out to be on average 0.09 man hours. And based on the $55 an hour, we needed to get $5.06 and a break even of $3.31. So once you have this broken out, we want to go into service autopilot. So you want to break out your zones or postal codes. And what we're going to do here is show you an example of how this actually lays out. So you want to take your blueprint here, and these 5 cells are going to be the top lines in your pricing matrix, and these bottom 5 cells here are the bottom 5 cells in your pricing matrix. And you're going to use the custom field based on the customer and a number of drive time, number 1 drive time trips. So same idea if you are delivering mulch or you are doing disposal, same idea. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. We want to cover that. But the idea now is once we have this set up, we want to go into Maps Pro and go into property measurements. We want to measure online. And when I hit satellite for this commercial property here, we've measured all the turf square footage. We go in and save it as we measure it. So every time we pull it up, we have there. We scroll down and we're going to grab our turf square footage and hit save. And once we have that, we'll go in and hit add an estimate. So this is where we add the drive time in. Now the drive time is going to be a child service. So the consumer will not see it, but your estimator will. So this is the ability to create a simplified estimating process that can be replicated without the owner. So based on the 13,000 square feet, we've come up with a price of $45, 0.52 man hours, and a cost before profit of $19.54. So based on drive time zones, I broke them into postal codes in this example or towns. So if I go in and put the number 1 in here, it calculates $8.09, 0.16 man hours, and a cost of $5.91. So when we hit draft to quote, what we have is a total price of $53.09, on-site and mobilization 0.68 man hours, and a cost before profit of $25.45. So if you have any comments or questions on the live recorded version, let me know. But the idea now is once we go down and hit save, I'll show you the preview of what happens. So the consumer never ever sees the actual drive time, but we've incorporated that in to make sure that we are good. So I'm going to pull this up on my phone real quick just to see if there is any comments or questions, because as of late, I have not been able to see them on the Facebook Live. So if you have any comments or questions, drop them below. Happy to see it here on the live recorded version. But the idea now is we've got that 5309 right here, and it includes drive time and mobilization on average. And now you've given your team a realistic drive time and on-site goal to be successful from day 1. So hopefully that is helpful. But Callahan's Corner here, you ask the questions, we answer live on Facebook. Drop the questions in. We got another really good question coming in tomorrow, how to actually tackle package jobs. How do we go out and schedule fertilization jobs for efficiency and minimize that drive time mobilization? Now, fertilization is a different animal. Usually that's a package job. You can't have a child service like we did here for drive time. So we want to include in our fertilization the drive time and the average mobilization. So as we scroll down into a package job, these are going to go to a waiting list, and we're going to have a start and end date that's applicable. And we're going to be able to optimize off Maps Pro and do a optimized driving time. And in addition, if we have a callback for a post-emergent spray, we can work that in or already in the area. So we're not running all the way across town to hit that. So comments and questions, drop them below, but wanted to tackle how to create average drive time. And it's the same methodology for disposal fees, pickup, delivery materials, and anything else that would cause a non-billable mobilization scenario in your service business. So once again, drop your questions, comments below, or submit them via Facebook on Simple Growth. But Callahan's Corner, you ask the questions, we answer them live right here on Facebook.